Welcome to the Naturally Prosperous Woman podcast. I'm your host, Tara Preston, founder of the Akashic Women's School, mentor to new paradigm leaders for over a decade, and teacher of divine prosperity consciousness. This podcast is dedicated to empowering women leaders around the world who desire to tap into their authentic feminine power for more money, magnetism, and of course, impact. It's a platform for women leaders wanting to embrace their natural abilities to create, lead, and flow, unlocking their inherent potential for prosperity and living in alignment with their truest selves. Because it's your birthright to flourish in the naturalness of the woman you were born to be. Thanks so much for being here. Let's dive in. Hi, welcome to the Naturally Prosperous Woman podcast. My name's Tara Preston, and today I want to talk about my journey with the Akashic Records and the rewiring of the nervous system of the planet and how the two actually lend themselves to really beautiful transformation in the process. So I came across the Akashic Records about 12 years ago. So as you may or may not know, my name's Tara Preston. I'm the host of the Naturally Prosperous Woman podcast. I am the creator of the Advanced Akashic Women's Guide certification that's been 3 years running. Also the foundation level Flower of Life Akashic certification program that's been running for 4 or 5 years now. We have graduates from all over the world, and I'm really, really proud of this body of work that is a combination of body-based Akashic record work, multi-dimensional body-based Akashic record work that focuses primarily on the resurrection of the feminine, which is the primary consciousness on the planet that has been suppressed for the last 5,000 years. Which brought about a great imbalance on the planet. If we think about the essence or the energy of the feminine, it's very much about relaxing into and trusting our cyclical nature, right? Working with the rhythms and the seasons of Mother Earth. It's really about being able to live in a space of rhythm and to be able to trust that it's safe enough to just be, right? And to relax in a very spacious way into the present moment so that we can actually start to replenish and live from a very sustainable, energetic place. So through the lens of my work, which I've been doing again for the last decade, it did, and longer really, but the focus primarily was on the feminine. And I was having a lot of women coming to me who were really burnt out, who were really disconnected, whose energetic systems were really collapsed. And I could recognize some of that in my own system as well. However, I had been working with my own cyclical nature for, a decade even before that. And, in my 20s, I really fell in love with working with my bleed and really was very passionate about what it meant to live in alignment with my cyclical nature. There were still some patterns, though, of burnout and burning the candle at both ends and being disconnected and still definitely having some trauma from, being the daughter of a mother who was single, who worked really hard, who definitely pushed up against some scarcity, some lack. And as a result, had my own generational trauma, of course, that was due to that. I'm going to talk a little bit more about, this rewiring of the nervous system, because we do hear so much about trauma now. We hear so much about the nervous system. So for me, working with the Akashic Records, I absolutely love the beauty and the power of the Akashic Records, but it wasn't necessarily the Akashic Records themselves that I was so passionate about. It really is what the Akashic Records illuminate. And the Akashic Records truly illuminate the path to a new paradigm of sustainability, of sensuality, of sovereignty, of sacredness, of what it means to liberate the human spirit beyond our capitalist hustle, do, go, push society. The Akashic Records are one of the planet's deepest healing tools, if not the deepest healing tool, and is really this beautiful, beautiful ancient source of love, of wisdom, of healing energy. And because the Akashic Records are held at the deepest layer of our being, the Akashic Records provide deep soul level, cellular and subconscious healing. So soul level, subconscious, cellular healing, if you think about that, in a very body-based, multi-dimensional way that takes time. For how deep and how much the Akashic Records actually accelerate our expansion and this journey into sovereignty, which really is this journey of living beyond the box of society, right? Beyond this society that so many of us have been integrated into, that leaves us in that place of, again, feeling depleted, disconnected, collapsed, right? Never enough, which really, to me, the never enough wound is the core wound on the planet. Because if the powers that be, right, that hold down the vibrational matrix of capitalist or colonial society, then having us feel like we're never enough works, right? They can dangle the eternal carrot externally, right? Having us push, go, do, hustle, because at the very root, there's this deep sense of never feeling like enough. And therefore we never have enough, right? Never enough time, never enough money, never enough energy. And so we're always pushing, hustling to try to get to the place of spaciousness, sustainability, and overflow. But without actually rewiring our nervous system, right, coming into energetic sustainability within our actual system, within our actual body, we don't actually start to lay the grid for a matrix of sustainability that can hold. Right, that can hold us, so that we can actually start to create our lives from a place of sustainable energy, from a place of true overflow, and from a place of, again, sovereignty, but creative power. What happens when we start to peel back the layers of being immersed in a capitalist society for so long? And when we talk about this being immersed in a patriarchal, capitalist, colonial society, it's not just, the generational wounding I was talking about, my experience as a child with my mother, which is very much like where my generational trauma came from. And also, with my father, who he definitely had his own wounds around that, who was homeless here and there throughout his lifetime and who struggled a lot financially. Definitely both of their experiences impacted me. And the Akashic Records were really an instrumental piece of untangling, of clearing, of healing a lot of the pain bodies that existed within that, so that I could really understand what it meant to live from a place of freedom, of sovereignty, of purpose, of being able to serve from the place of using my gifts and actually having prosperity and overflow meet me in that place. Right. And that's a journey. And that's a journey that I often take my clients on privately. But that is a journey that the Akashic Records support in a very natural way, because the Akashic Records realign us to the deeper truth of our divinity, which is that we are meant to prosper. We're meant to live in overflow. Right? We're meant to live in the beauty of our purpose in a very sustainable, cup overflowing way where we're being provided for, and not in a way where we have to push and go and do and hustle and feel this sense of scarcity and separation, right? It's this invitation to come back into our divinity, into that remembrance that we are worthy of love. We are love. Right? Just our presence as divine beings in this human experience is the gift, right? That we are just not, without needing to be anywhere, having to do anything. Our presence is the gift. We are worthy of love. We are worthy of prosperity. We are worthy of receiving our desires. The separation happens through these layers of woundedness, through the layers of trauma, right? And that those layers of woundedness and the layers of trauma and the layer of separation exists at a cellular soul subconscious level. It sits in the framework of our energy and in the framework of our bodies. And so as we start to clear all of that out, we come back to the truth of who we are, our essence, our soul level remembrance, our holy self can start to integrate into the framework of our energy and into the framework of our bodies. And that's where we hear so much about embodiment, right? But in order to do that, in order for our divinity and our essence to drop more fully into the energetics of who we are at a cellular level, we have to clear and heal and rewire our systems so that we can actually start to live beyond the box of society in this new place of divine liberation. And that is the beauty of the Akashic Records, which is this beautiful ancient healing tool. And so again, while I love the Akashic Records, I do because of how deep and how profound they are. I really love what the Akashic Records illuminate in terms of our freedom and our liberation and our expression, just grounding the essence and divine nature of the human experience through our channels, right? Through our regulated, sustainable, energetic matrix, we start to land our divinity through our human experience. And that happens through cycles of evolution. And this is another really powerful, potent piece that I love to weave into how I teach and how I lead and how I hold space for rising leaders, right? Is that we move through a very cyclical process of what it means to ground more of our divinity, what it means to rewire our energetic system, to build our capacity for more sustainability, right? To heal these wounds, the generational wounds that disconnect us from our prosperity and our potential, to heal the ancestral wounds that disconnect us from our prosperity and from our potential, and to heal the past life wounds that disconnect us from our prosperity and our potential. And from the expression of our essence, the unique energetic signature of who we are, so that it can land more fully through the channels of our body and into the physical experience of our world, of the world around us. And that happens in a very cyclical way. And so when we feel that call, right, into more of our freedom, into more of our prosperity and more of our liberation, right, the transformation that actually needs to happen is multi-layered. It's really multi-layered, really multifaceted. And I don't believe that when it comes to soul level embodiment, that oftentimes people really understand the extent of what it takes to truly integrate our essence in a very deep and embodied way, so that we actually have the energetic capacity to hold what wants to flow through us, right? So that we can actually clear the templates of the old wounding, so that we can drop in more fully into the remembrance of our divinity, right? So that we can feel an integrated sense of safety at a cellular, soul, and subconscious level to more fully express, to lead our lives forward in bold new ways, and to actually receive even more prosperity. So as I was introducing the Akashic Records and talking a little bit about, rewiring the nervous system of the planet, I truly believe that it begins with the awakening of the divine feminine essence within, because it's been such a dormant energy that's been suppressed on the planet. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we take out of the equation the sacred masculine, right, at all. But what I often find is that there's this beautiful balance that starts to happen as we clear out the disconnect and we make space for the awakening of the feminine energy within. And all of a sudden, there's this holy dance that starts to happen between the sacred feminine, the sacred masculine, in a very, very balanced and beautiful and liberated way, where there's a freedom for us to drop into the beauty and the power of our feminine essence and actually feel so supported by the power and the beauty of the sacred masculine. And we start to come into this place of as above, so below, as within, so without. We start to, again, break down the separation consciousness, and we start to land in this place of creative power, of knowing that we can awaken our Shakti, the creative, energetic force that lives within us, the expression of our beauty, that we can relax into a space of sustainability, of receptivity, that we can tap into our creative desires and know that we're going to be supported by a higher masculine template, right? Which very often comes into that space of shifting from a wounded masculine template as we clear out these layers of trauma, of disconnect, of separation. And we're coming into that space of these new templates of the sacred masculine, of the holy masculine, which is where our internal feminine begins to feel very held and supported by the sacred masculine. And that can be through designing new systems and structures through our home, right? That actually starts to support the liberation of the nourished feminine, of sustainable energy, right? We start to actually build out new ways of being and new systems and structures through our home, through our businesses. If you're a mom, there's very often I'm working within the family matrix, and we're untangling and unraveling to make more space for the Shakti to flow, and where the systems and structures in the home can support your creative radiance, right? Your purpose. And I want to get into how this ties into all beings and not just women. Right? Because in this place of unity, right, exists the non-binary. And there's this beautiful co-creative dance that begins to happen as we start to feel free in our experience. But bringing this back into these holy templates of the sacred feminine, the sacred masculine, when women really start to rise in their Shakti energy, there's the upgrade of the masculine templates. And that often comes through systems and structures. It often ties into how supported they feel by money, right? Like they feel so supported in their prosperity and their magnetism, in this sustainable energy that they've been able to cultivate through their system while dropping into their creative potential and power. And the relationship between the sacred or the divine and how we get to operate from this place of creative potential and power while feeling really, really held in our physical experience, where we're able to lead beyond the box of society in a totally new way, right? Feeling very connected to a different source of supply. So as we start to regulate our nervous systems and come into this new energetic capacity, right, and we've started to really clear out all the layers of woundedness around separation consciousness, around lack, around limitation, around poverty consciousness, around never feeling like enough, right, and coming into that beautiful space of remembrance of the beauty of who we are and the value of who we are in the now. Right? If we start to come back and trust that it's okay to be in our cyclical nature, right? To create from a space of cycles, that there's a time to be and that there's a time to do, right? And through that, specifically with the Akashic Records, we're really untangling and rewiring, right? And we're starting to allow the essence to drop into the body, just to really start to know and understand that it's safe to inhabit in this way. We start to come into this place of union with the sacred masculine templates, and we start to live again beyond the box of society, where we're remembering our creative potential and our creative power, right? Where we're not necessarily leaning on others to create a sense of safety or love or acceptance within. Right? We're remembering who we are as powerful beings. We're remembering the power of our presence. We're remembering that it's safe to have a deep relationship with ourselves, right? With ourselves and spirit first and foremost. This is where we really start to land into that space of sovereignty, right? Of knowing that it's okay to lead our lives forward, to choose our own truth, to tap into our own desires, our own creational energy, and to be able to speak it and lead our life forward from that place, right? We can trust and know that it's okay, that we don't need the love and safety and acceptance of others because of our trauma, right? We understand that it's safe and it's okay to be self-sourced in our leadership and to make our relationship with ourselves a priority and to come into a space of intimacy within our partnerships, of intimacy and consciousness, right? And having these beautiful conscious conversations where we can be in partnerships, but from a different space of wholeness, of different space of sovereignty. This is work that I often do, as well with couples, right? Where we're carrying forward this generational trauma and these codependent patterns, and we're seeking still love, acceptance, approval, and safety externally, right? Because of our trauma. And with the Akashic Records, we can so beautifully start to untangle and rewire, right? And move through the layers that keep us separate from a deeper truth so that we can come home to ourselves, our divinity, our sustainability, our true prosperity, so that we can feel awake and alive. So I just wanted to share a little bit on through the lens of the Akashic Records, on through the lens of, 6,000 Akashic Record sessions over the last decade, the beauty and the power of not just the Akashic Records, of course, but of, the awakening and ascension and descension process that we're all doing. And I feel like it's so beautiful and liberating, and the Akashic Records, through my lens and the way I've facilitated transformation, have provided such a beautiful and deep and gentle and accelerated pathway for stepping into our sovereignty, for rewiring our energetic system. And so if this is you, if you've been called to the Akashic Records, if you know you're on the edge of stepping into more of your soulful sovereignty, your evolutionary path, you can feel you're on the edge, right? There's something calling you. I want to let you know that you can reach out, have a conversation with me. I'd love to explore this more with you. I kind of brought this through as a transmission, so I hope that some of it is, or all of it, is really landing in terms of what I know about the Akashic Records, what I have seen about the Akashic Records, and how I believe the nervous system of the planet is being rewired, and how unity consciousness plays into that, how the awakening of the feminine plays into that, how sovereignty plays into that, right? And the layers that sometimes exist within that, and how we're all on this journey, and how it unfolds in a very cyclical way. And you may have, been doing this work for a long time, but feeling an edge in your embodiment, right? Of more of your essence, right? Or hitting a wall in terms of more of your freedom, or you're not quite feeling integrated in your sustainability or connecting money to your purpose. This is absolutely how the path of unity consciousness and the Akashic Records can support you. So I would love to hear if this sparked or pinged anything for you. Head on over to the Akashic Women's School Facebook group. Come and share with me. I would love to hear if this sparked or pinged anything for you, right? Just regardless of where you're at in your journey. this rewiring the nervous system of the planet. You know, again, we're coming from such a long history of pushing, going, doing, the separation, the scarcity, right? And of coming into this place of just knowing we can rest. We can travel in a very cyclical way. We can connect prosperity to our feminine nature, right? Of being, of creativity, of beauty, of cycles, of rhythms, of cycle and rhythms, and bringing forward the essence of our gifts, having time to nurture ourselves, right? And nurture others, right? That's where we're coming into harmony with the feminine. And knowing that in that place we can be provided for, right? That source is our source, that the divine is our source, that the supply flows through people to us in service to our sacred path and our gifts, and just the beauty of who we were born as. Knowing that we are worthy now. And that it's safe to relax into this moment, into the space of remembrance. Of holiness, of beauty. And again, please keep in mind, this is, I believe, a lifelong journey that we're all on right now as we continue to say yes to our path of soulful sovereignty, of freedom, right? Of this rewiring of the nervous system on the planet. We're all figuring this out together. But every time we say yes to the next edge of our evolution, we move through another layer of clearing out the karmic, ancestral, and generational residue, right? We come deeper into the remembrance of our divinity, of the true codes of prosperity, into more of our sustainability, right? And then we integrate, we create more space in our life and in our system and in our vessel, right down to the cells, for more of our essence to land and express. And we get to feel more free, more alive, right? We move through another layer of processing, clearing, untangling, and then remembering, embodying, and expressing. And that is the nature of soul level embodied transformation. And it happens in a very cyclical way. And there's no need to rush. We can take our time. Right? We're all in this, it's a very collective thing that's happening. So if you're feeling some of the layers of the processing part, right, that feel a little bit challenging, as we move through some of like the wounds, the feeling part, right? Because this is such a time of awakening, right? As we rewire our nervous system, allowing yourself to feel, right? Every time we feel, we create more space in our system and our cells, for more pleasure, more vitality, for more of our soul self to integrate into our humanity. So being so patient and so gentle with yourself, wherever you're at. And if any of this work speaks to you, reach out. Tara@tarapreston.com. Reach out to learn more about private work. Reach out to learn more about the upcoming Akashic Women's Guide certification. If this is work that you're being called to, either for your own leadership pathway, for your own soulful, sovereign, embodied evolution, or if this is work that you'd like to facilitate on behalf of others. The Advanced Akashic Women's Guide presale is open now, and we begin September 21st. And if this speaks to you, reach out. You can also head over to the akashicwomenschool.com, and you can check out all of our options. There's a drop-down box at the very bottom. You'll see the Akashic Women's Guide certification. And thank you so much for joining me today for this transmission, for this share. And I shall talk to you all very soon. Bye for now. Hello, friend. Thanks for joining us this week. If you'd like to stay in touch, head on over to the Akashic Women's community on Facebook group. Come share your takeaways, your insights, your reflections. I would absolutely love to hear. If you'd like to deepen into any part of this work, head on over to the akashicwomenschool.com/free-gift and grab the Akashic Radiant Womb Awakening and Clearing Morning Practice to start to sink into your feminine power. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.